because we're not here to talk computers. We're here to talk about hollowing. So this morning, we're going to work with the Carter Products hollow roller. And I got a little bit more to do on this guy. I made this up earlier today so that you wouldn't have to deal with see me make all the mess. And I've used this on the road for a long time. I'm going to show it to you before we get started. I've used this on the road with the woodworking shows for a long time. It's got, I don't know how many, probably 3 or 4 years on the road. And it's really slick. It's still, I haven't used it out here, or haven't used it in a couple of years. So we got some adjustments, and I was trying to get those adjustments all done before I came on, and that's what made me late, and that's the truth. But so then I realized, well, shoot, you probably need to see how we adjust it anyway. So I thought, we'll just Bradley stop, and we'll adjust it for the folks watching. But it's a great system, and like I said, I've used it a lot. It's got 1 million miles on it. I put a new cutter on here today that I've not used. This is a little carbide cutter. And let me see, I'm going to see if I can get it to show up. You can't take this bar out. So I don't want to zoom those cameras though, because I've already got them set with their focus. It's a little teeny Hunter carbide cutter that fits in the end there. I haven't used it before. I'm looking forward to it. There's a number of different cutters that you can put on these. Very popular is, and this one you can see, maybe if I put it on here. Yes. A teardrop style cutter. Once you have got your hollow started, once you got your form started, oftentimes to clean it up, you'll want to use one of these little teardrop cutters. And these are high-speed steel. These aren't carbide. And you can resharpen these on your grinder if you want to. There's also a square cutter, which I ran out to the warehouse to try and find one for this one this morning, this tool, and I couldn't. But I'm going to steal one while you're looking at that. I'm going to steal one off of, actually I'm just going to show you this. This is off my arm brace tool, which is another method of working. See if you can see that. That camera looks dark this morning. Little square high-speed steel cutter there. If I go up closer, I don't know why I said the light's funny on that camera this morning. Getting a weird shadow too. But real straightforward. Sharpen them up on your grinder. And then the other one, which probably isn't going to show up too well in this light for whatever reason, is a round, there we go, a little round cutter. And this is a hook style tool. We've got a straight bar and we've got a curved bar. So that's what we're going to be working with. We've got a couple different cutters. I can change some of these around pretty quick, some of them not so fast. But we'll have a lot of fun with this. Now, if you guys have questions along the way, you holler at me. Good morning, everybody. Little Hogger. It's not the Little Hogger, Frederick. This is actually from the Carter Products. I know the Little Hogger comes from Ron Campbell, Arizona Carbide. He has that. I need to get a Little Hogger from him and try it out. Okay, so as I said, I got to set this up a little bit more, but first I need to finish cleaning this up. This is a pretty piece of wood. It's actually spalted sycamore. Well, let me get this out of the way. Now, I had that zoomed in more. I think I had gremlins in here this morning because I'm going to zoom this in. Of course, you're not seeing that. I tell you, I'm having one of those days. There we go. You're seeing it. You'll see it here in a second. Beautiful piece of wood. Got a lot of interesting patterns to it. It has gotten soft. It does have a little crack in it here too. The sycamore's kind of bad to crack. But it's a really, really nice piece of wood. I just made a basic shape on it that you saw in the overhead there. So we got to finish turning this end off and drill our hole and start going inside. So that's going to be our first mission. Let me go back to the front camera here. As I get settled in. It really is a really, really pretty piece of wood. And I was just playing with a quick form here this morning. This thing wants to be, you know how I like colors. I'm going to dye this. I may even throw dye on it before we're done today, just for fun. Um, when you're hollowing as a demonstration, there's not a whole lot you can see once you get inside, other than the methodology of what's going on out here on the captive system and whatnot. But I've made this simple form, and I made it in such a way that we can show having to reach around a corner and having a thin neck to deal with. Okay. So the first thing I got to do is make my entry here and finish cleaning up this top. And let me jump over here and check what's going on. I think, Arthur, you're right. I need to get a producer to doing this as a one-man show. I got to get rid of that too. Hang on. You know, once you get a little skewed in the morning, it's all over, isn't it? It's crazy. Trying to get yourself stabilized and ready to go. I don't know even where I was now. It's just one of those mornings. We're going to have fun. I'll relax. I'll calm down. We'll be all good. It's not my first rodeo. Anyway, we got to finish cutting this off, clean this up, and then I'm going to run in here with the drill bit and hollow that out, or drill that out, and then we'll start our hollowing. So no, I haven't replaced. I need to bring in a bunch of my masks, getting ready for the woodworking shows. And so I broke my strap on my other one. I just need to get, I'm going to be selling them out at the show. So I'm still fighting with, to me, this face shield. I grumble about face shields all the time. But we got to have one for up close here. Now when I'm running the hollow roller and I'm standing out here, I'm not going to wear this today. Let's see here. Let's get this cleaned up. That's in reverse because we knocked the ridges off it. Oh, about 950 or something like that. But no, I think I'm going to put some dye. I see over in the windowsill there's some dye. I think we're going to dye this guy up today when we're done. Now I also have the steady rest. You hear that vibration? So if you're ever worried about a piece vibrating or even breaking, I've got some other samples to show you too. I'm going to leave that just like that. We've got the big multi-rest, steady rest from Carter Products over here, and we can put that on to steady this up. Now this one's not very long. Okay, let me show you what I was doing in there. My producer forgot to change cameras. Just clean that top up with a spindle gouge. Make myself a little point. Okay. Now the next thing I'll do is drill a little hole down in here. And if you haven't seen me use this before, it's just my long twist bit on a homemade handle. You know, go down to Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever, box store, get yourself a twist bit. It's really nice if you'll start yourself a pre-drill hole. Makes it a lot easier. And you don't need your tool rest. And we're going to turn the speed way down, because you don't want it to catch. Now, this has got magic marker marks all over it. And I'm just going to look at one for a reference, because I want to drill all the way down in here. So I'm going to go right between those two. And that'll get me right down to the base. Make sure I'm looking at the right camera here for you. So I'm going to get to right there. Change this over. So we'll drill down to right here, where that base starts. Now this extra wood down in here, I've got 1.5 inch number 10 screws on the faceplate on here. So this is all just a waste block, okay? That's just the extra wood. That's all good. And I've got another piece that I'll bring out here after a while that's really long, that the steady rest, multi-rest would be really good for. But we're just going to come in here. And don't hold on to the flutes. This guy needs a little sharpening. He's kind of due. But just run yourself right down in here. Now, you can use your tailstock and a drill bit in your tailstock in a Jacobs chuck, and it works fine. I would caution you from experience to be careful about the size. If you're going to use a Forstner bit, how large a diameter you go. I was making birdhouses out in Colorado, and I was hollowing out aspen to make these birdhouses. And I decided, well, I'll just put a 3.5-inch Forstner bit in the tailstock. And boy, howdy, it sure makes the work quick. The problem is, I tore up the little pin in your tailstock that holds the quill in place. As you can see how soft this is. And so I kind of messed up the quill on that. It's a Delta. It's still out there. There we go. So I've always been really leery ever since then. I've always been real leery ever since I used that big 3.5-inch Forstner bit to drill these holes. And I've just stayed with my little small bit. I mean, hollowing this stuff is not difficult. This is not hardwood. The Colt drill bits work really well, the Colt Forstner bits, if that's what you want to do. Or any good high-quality bit, because there's a lot of, and now this is dry, but there's a lot of friction and force in there, and it can, when it gets hot, it can swell up around your bit, so you really want to be careful. All right, let's see what's going on over here. Come on, mouse. On 37 different monitors over here. All right. I hope that feed is coming all right. For I see it, my stream light blinking from red to yellow, so I still have some issues to fix there. I do apologize for if it's got a jittery look out there. Looks like I've got some investing to do in computer stuff. All right, so we can actually start with any of our tools. Make this hole bigger now. It doesn't really matter. I can use bowl gouge, spindle gouge, easy wood carbide tool. I think I will, since we're hollowing today. I'm gonna grab easy wood tools #1 hollower. Got a standard bit on it, not a negative rake or anything like that. And I'm gonna run down in here for a little bit by hand. Now, this piece also has a split right here, so I'm not gonna make this piece super thin today. Okay. But we'll make it respectable, but I'm going to keep an eye on that split. All right? Looks like we got to go up a little bit. Make this right at the center. There we go. Let's give ourselves some speed. Again, nothing crazy. Right about 1,000 or so. We'll go down to the end camera for you there. Good morning, Mary Alice. Good to see you. All right, still just a little teeny bit low. There we go. So you can make an inch, 1-inch hole. The more you want that really interesting, I'm trying to find the right words for this. The more you want to show that you can really work through a small hole, the smaller the hole can be. There are limitations. For sake of being fast and not having trouble getting the chips out, I'm going to make the hole about 1.5 inches today, because your chips pile up in there. Now this wood is dry, so it'll be kind of like sawdust. But if your wood is wet, it really clings up inside there. And it's hard to get out. It takes a long time. You have to fish it out with a wire. We don't want to spend that time doing that this morning. So we'll go to about the maximum reach for this tool, and then that'll give us something to start with. Okay. It's nice when wood is, oops, crash and burn. Nice and soft and turns easy like that. Let me get back out to the front here. Right. So we've knocked our little hole in here. We've got a center knocked out. We are ready to set up our captive system. Now I'm going to show you what I learned to turn on now that I've decided to lay all these parts down. And this is still a fantastic tool. Is anybody out there, let me know if anybody out there has an arm brace style hollower. I'm doing two things at once here. I'm a goofball. This is what I learned to turn on. My dad gave me this when I first started turning, and it sits up on your tool rest. It works great. Now, it'll beat you to death on certain wood, but they really work well. I've turned all my hollow forms until I got the Carter system. With this, I still use it sometimes for certain things. If I don't want to get the system all set up, you can do a lot with these. But you're taking the brunt of the force when you're working with this. The beauty of these captive systems is you get to stand back and literally relax. It's not stressful. You don't feel like you're going to get beat up. You're not getting beat up. So they're really comfortable and relaxing to hollow something that you can't see inside. And I think for a lot of people, what scares people about hollowing is that they can't see inside. They don't know what the tool's doing until you get used to that, because you can literally close your eyes, although you shouldn't because you do want to keep an eye on the tool. You can't see what's going on in here. And that's intimidating, and I understand that. So that's, with the captive systems, it takes so much of that stress away that you don't have to worry about that stuff. Now this is the tool rest that comes with a Carter system. And like I said, I've had this stuff on the road for years. And we want to set this up, probably 1.5 inches or so away from our piece. And we'll tighten this down. Tighten down the base. If I have the right Allen wrench out. I think it is. There it is. It's just dirty in there. Imagine that in my world. Screws full of junk. Okay. We'll be using that more. So what we're after, make sure you're getting a decent shot there. You can see. So you see how the tool handle is pointing down at the end right now? We want to make sure it sits flat and level. Now that's pretty level right there. But what I see is my front roller bar, and it's referred to as a torque arrestor here, allows this to go up and down. Now a little bit of play is okay, but we want a little bit more control than that. So there's adjustment screws here on the front, and that's what we're going to work with this morning. And we're going to loosen these screws up. The first year I had this on the road, life on the road for these tools is tough. Riding around in a tractor trailer between all the woodworking shows, and there's Loctite on the threads these days. Well, got to one of the shows one time, and literally almost all the screws had vibrated out. Now they were in the big crate, and I was able to find everything, but that was really something. Trying to get all that put back together and look for the screws. All right. And loosen up the back. Right. Keep the right one going there, Bradley. There are different diameter bars too, and that's the one thing you have to do. Change these adjustments when you change bar diameter. Okay, and as soon as I loosen up the back, that dropped down, and I want that just to sit nice and flat and level. Okay, no rocking in there. And I'm gonna snug these back up. I want to make sure that it rolls smooth though, that it doesn't bind up. Okay. I mean, it's a simple adjustment, just takes a few minutes. But when I first started using this, I thought I had, so to speak, died and gone to heaven in the tool world, because it's so much easier on yourself than that conventional handheld style tool. Now, this is a nice size. There are bigger, like Carter Products has a bigger one. I think it's called the XL. And there's a lot of other brands on the market. Me as a demonstrator traveling all the time with everything that has to pack into crates and go on the road, this is nice and compact. I really like it for that. And even just storing in the shop, it doesn't take up a whole lot of space. Okay. All right. So now we have just a little bit of play in here, so we're feeling good. We want to make sure that things roll nice and smooth. And if I got it too tight, let me lock this down, then I may have to come back over and adjust it again. So what I did is I left it a little too tight on this side over here, on this left-hand side. So we'll loosen it back up, because you want to have freedom of movement all the way across. Okay. There we go. There we go. Say, you want to make sure you've got it all set where you want it before you start trying to turn, because you don't want to be down inside there. There we go, because we're going to swing and pivot and all kinds of things like that. All right. Now we're going to readjust our tool rest there too for this new setting. Because I have that carbide cutter on there, unless I can come around here, let's see what happens. There we go. It's just that cutter. All right. So now I'm set. My bar is in here. It's nice and solid and steady. And one of the fun things about this, when you need to start reaching around the corner, you can get really creative. I'll show you this. So you think, well, how am I going to reach that far on something? Well, you can take your banjo, turn it all the way around, and you can put an angle on it, and you can't see that from the front. And none of my overheads are showing that angle much. But you get the idea. It's way out front here, coming in at probably 45 degrees. So you can do a lot of different things to get yourself a lot of room and a lot of adjustment, which is really cool. Let's check my screen over here. I hope it stays quiet. A little while ago they were chipping trees. Service utility was in here. I think, great, I have to visit with you folks this morning while they're running a tree chipper over there. All right. So we've got that set. We've got our adjustments. There's a collar right in here, so that sets the height. So once you have that set, you never have to change it. All right. Now the next thing is a handle. Okay. It's got a quick change, collet style handle. It goes right on. And the beauty is, and I see my camera, I'm going to almost be standing out of the camera, which is okay. You don't want to see me, you want to see the tool work. Is you're standing back here, okay? You're not, relatively speaking, you're not even involved in what's going on. You've got lots of reach that can go way down inside here. So, like I said, because I'm going to be way back here and I can't stand that face shield, I'm not going to, I know the safety police will be all over me. But I'm not going to wear that face shield when I'm standing back here, and we're not going to be doing anything crazy anyway. So let me go to the end camera for you so you can see the setup in there. I'm going to reach over and get a sip drink real quick. And let me see if there's any questions. All right. Nope, no questions. Okay, so what speed? Oh gosh. We don't have it supported. I'm going to start out around 850. See how that works for me. Okay? So I've got my carbide cutter in here. Now, like I said, this is the first time for me using this carbide cutter. Hollowing is fun. Working where you can't see is a great time. And I've got some other pieces I'm going to put on here today too. We run out of time. I've got some that I've already turned. Somewhat, but they need to be turned more. So now I'm going to pivot. I'm looking at the camera. So I was coming in straight to say over here out to the front. I'm going to pivot the tool and work down the center some more. Because my cutter sits at an angle. Okay? And you're working by feel. If you make a ledge, you can feel that. I'm going to change to the front camera so you can see how little impact on me it's having. So I'm just here holding on to the tool. Got my finger up here just to keep everything steady. And I'm standing back here just relaxing. Okay, let's go ahead and clean this out. Stop here real quick. I'll get the air compressor hose over here. It's a little building I'm in. A little building, kind of tight sometimes. Clean that out. Pay no attention to the compressor running in the background. Now I'm going to adjust this cutter. I'm going to turn it out to the side a little bit. Change its adjustment just a little teeny bit. It is underneath. I believe it's that key. I'm going to turn this out to the side. I'm going to stick it, extend it out a little bit further for a little bit more reach. Okay, there we go. So let's see if you can see that. Okay, because we're on the front camera right now. So let me go to the end camera for you. And if you can see my finger here, I've extended this out. I know I'm not zoomed in super tight. I have finally figured out I have to run on manual focus with all the movement on the cameras with the pieces. So my bar was touching when I started turning a little bit. It would touch right in here. So I've extended the cutter out, and that doesn't happen now. And I'm just working my way down. Now, one of the things we want to keep in mind when we're working with a holoform, and let me go to overhead, this is going to be a better shot. So we start out up here, and then we go out to the widest point, and then we're on the far end, looking in, and you're thinking about here, and then you start cutting down and down and down, and you got to keep in mind that this is getting narrower. It's easy to cut through the wall if you're not paying attention. Now, there is a laser attachment, which I did not put together this morning due to lack of time. And batteries, I'm certain, are dead. That's why I didn't mess with it. But let me go to the overhead, and I'll show you the basic attachment. The laser attachment goes on the bar. Got a little hole right in here. Laser beam shines down. You adjust it so that it shines just past your cutter. Best one to show you that might be this weird looking overhead today. So the beam comes down, and we set it to just whatever distance off the cutter we want. Like say, if you want a 1/4 inch wall, and what's going to happen is as the light is shining on your piece, it's going to be shining way inside, and it will get closer and closer and closer to the outside. And when it disappears off the edge of the outside, when the light no longer shines on the piece, that's your wall thickness. That is your distance between the light shining down and the cutter. So it's a pretty nice attachment. It works well. Again, like I said, the battery, I'm certain it's dead. I just grabbed this stuff out the day before yesterday. Works really well. It's handy to have. It's not necessary. You can still use your calipers if you don't want to have the additional attachment there. Go back to the overhead for you for just a moment. Check questions. Let's see what's going on in here. You use a sticky note between rollers on band and making adjustments on both sides. Hey, JP. Frederick, you could use the sticky note to set that adjustment for sure. If that works, that's a good idea. Let's go back to the end. We'll do a little bit more with this guy. And then I'm going to switch over to the curve bar, which has a small round cutter on it. But as you can see, this is no stress on me. And once you learn to feel where you're making, as you're cutting, you'll make steps. You want to make some steps. You don't want to take it all out at once. You'll feel those marks, those steps inside, the different depths of cut, and that's what you just learn to feel and become comfortable reaching for those or feeling for them and taking them out to make it smooth. I'll show you. I'm going to pull this back out for a second and switch to overhead so you can kind of see the angle of the bar that's going on there. See how it's coming through the hole. One thing I have learned over the years is whatever size hole you want in the end, start out with one that's slightly smaller because you're going to beat it up some with the bar like that. So you can see it really doesn't take very long to get this guy started to be hollowed out. Go back to the front here, blow the chips out of it. It's pretty quick and easy. It's no strain on yourself. Okay. Real simple. So I started reaching around that corner, and that's why I'm going to switch over to the curved one here in a second. Sometimes having a flashlight doesn't hurt. I can see down in there, see where I'm at. Okay, I want to take a little bit more out of the very bottom with this cutter. So I'm going to give myself some latitude here because my cutter is pointed straight out so that I can come down in here. And if I wanted to go real deep down in there, I'll probably have to turn that cutter again. Okay, go back to overhead for you. I'm working down in the bottom there now, more towards the bottom. Gonna have to adjust the cutter. Let me do that real quick. You just change the orientation of it just a little bit. There we go. So I've got it pointed straight down the shaft now. Okay. right down through the middle there. Move this back over. And take it right down straight into the bottom. Remember, we drilled a hole, so you can feel that hole right in the center there. So you have to be, especially right at the center, you end up getting a little lip. So you've got the hole in the center that you drilled, and then right next to it usually will be a little lip because the cutter jumps over back and forth. So it's just like when you're in the center of the bowl. If you had extra drilled a hole down the center, you might get that little lip when it jumps back and forth. Now here you can't see it, you just have to feel it. Okay, a little bit more in the straight in method here. I'll leave the front camera on this time so you can see what I'm doing this way. And again, it's no strain on me at all. So there's right down the center. Get rid of that lip. This is so much better than getting beat up by hand. All the torque and all the stress is going into the torque arrestor or the roller of the system. So I'm right in the hole that I drilled. I get the cutter right in there. And then I just work that away. Just all by feel. And then come back and run up the wall a little bit to keep up with your profile. I'll switch to the overhead so you can kind of see how the bar is being moved back and forth. Mr. Michael Lang, how are you, sir? Good to see you. Oh, I'm still on the end. I wanted to be in the middle, overhead. There we go. So like I said, I go down in the center. I'm going to stop here and blow the chips out. I go down in the center, then I come back up the wall a little bit. Again, keep up with your chips. If a piece is wet, if it's a wet green piece that you're turning, the wet chips can really clog up inside and really hold, and they can actually grab a tool. Now, it's not so much, you don't feel it with the system like this, but if you're on a hand tool, and the chips get overfilled inside your piece, you're definitely going to notice it, and it's going to try and grab the tool. So always make sure you're keeping your chips out. I know sometimes you get kind of happy just, carving away in there, enjoying what you're doing, getting into the moment. But be sure you keep up with your chips. Okay? All right. I think I'm going to go a little bit further. Let's check and see where we at here. Looks like we are about 7. Let's measure and check this. From the cutter to there, we're about 6 inches in. So, where am I at? We're right about here. We're right in the waist of the piece. So maybe another inch or so. You want to leave that base. We're on there. So we're right in the waist. We want to leave. We don't want to go all the way down into the base. So we'll go a little bit more, and let's give you. Let's see what picture might be. Oh gosh, I don't know. I'll go back to the overhead again. Anybody has a preference? Holler and let me know in there. Excuse me for the cough there. All right. First time I ever hollowed, my dad had just given me that tool, and I got in a big poplar log. Got a couple poplar logs, 10, 12 inches tall from a club meeting, and they're excuse me, in their raffle, and I think I made about a dozen hollow forms. Just that's all I did was make hollow forms for a couple days. I was kind of slow, but I sure got a feel for it. And that was with the arm brace tool. I wish I'd had this then when I was doing it. It's dusty. It's really dry. It's gonna make me cough again. So I am going to jump over here to overhead for just a second, so I can wash that sawdust out of my mouth. Okay. Now I want to change bars, and I want to put the curve bar on here. Now, because I have the carbide cutter with the larger base, I have to actually take the cutter off to get this bar out. So we'll take our handle off, set it down. Remove our cutter. Thing works great. So be thinking about what color. I see the fog. You know what's happening is I see it happening out there. I'm in South Georgia, and the front camera is getting it gets condensation inside the lens because it's so humid around here. It's really humid this morning. It was real foggy and all. And I have a, believe it or not, I have a hair dryer out here so that I can defog the lens on the cameras. Welcome to the Deep South. So this is the curve tool. Got a curve on it. Got a round cutter, just perfectly round. I don't know how sharp it is. I haven't used it in a while. But we're going to go with it anyhow. Okay. It's already set. This is going to allow me to reach around that corner very easily. I hate that stream is buffering like that. So now I can reach right around the corner. And you can see the chips starting to fill up the hole there. I'm going to stop here and make an adjustment real quick. I want to raise that tool rest. Just fuzz. Real quick like. See what's going on. I'm at the max for that toolbar. When you get your adapter kit, when you get your hollow roller, if you happen to purchase one of these, you get different bars, length bars for this. And so I'm right at the max on this guy. That's what my issue is. I don't know that I've used it in a while. I think I'm going to bring my other tool down a little bit. Yeah, okay. I need to make a quick adjustment here on this top bar. Real quick. Like I say, it doesn't take too long to fine tune when you need to. Because you want to have it right. It's back in here. That's better. A little bit more. A little bit more. We went to North Georgia yesterday. Those of you who follow life on my personal page, and delivered Sir William, the new kitten that we fostered, to my folks up in North Georgia, and they're loving him. He's a great little kitten. We had fun keeping him here for a couple of weeks. Now he's where he's going to be. He's where he's going to stay. All right, that's better. Make sure everything's snug here. So we took a day and ran up. Like I say, we're down outside of Savannah. We ran up about an hour north of Atlanta. He traveled well, didn't make a sound in the car while we were traveling. Double check all my other screws. Because I'm talking, sometimes I forget what I have done and not done when I'm talking. Make sure everything's tightened back up. Okay. Let's blow that out while we're in here. Don't pull the tools off the rack, Bradley. Okay, and in we go again. So you can see it's making quick and easy work of this. Reach in here and see how we're doing. Oh yeah, doing good. So the little round cutter does a great job. I'm starting to clean up the big ledges I had made. That little teeny small cutter, it's real aggressive and cuts great, but it doesn't make the smoothest wall. So we're on the round cutter, and then the next thing I'll do is I'll put on a teardrop cutter after this. Let me check for questions over here real quick. Okay. Another pass or two with this. Again, you can see how easy that hook lets you reach around the corner. Now, when you get up, before you hit the end of the swan, if you will, you just have to go ahead and move your tool over a little bit, but you can slide right across the bars. And then as you get towards the bottom, rotate the tool back around. And then at a certain point, like which is right there, the back of the swan starts to hit this back side over here. So that's your limit. Okay. Let's pull that out of there. All right. Let's go ahead and switch over to a teardrop cutter. And I have one on a bar here. I think it's a big bar, which means I'll have to do another adjustment again. Now, you know what I'll do? Let's see. I think what I might do, since I'm talking to myself for a second, although I do it all the time. Where did I put that other straight bar? Let's put a teardrop on this one. Yeah. So we've got a teardrop cutter right here. And see where you can see that. And we've got a long pointed end, and then we've got a real round end. So let's start with the pointed end first. We'll make that our key cutter. So we won't go real deep. We'll work on the top section first with this. And then we'll turn it, after we're satisfied with that, we'll turn it to the smooth, the big radius, to really clean things up. Of course, I got it going the wrong way because I was upside down. Silly. Let's go the other way. There we go. I guess I can't think upside down. Ah, that one doesn't go through either. You can tell it has been a while since I've used this. Real quick, take it back off. This will just take a second. Oh, that's right, this is the bigger bar. That's why I don't change bars too much, because of the adjustments you have to make. But it won't take us too long. To make the quick change. There we go. Check that it's all right there. Check that we're not too tight there. We'll tighten, snug this one down. We'll go back to the other side. And reposition that. Just a little snug right there. There we go. Okay. Good deal. It's supposed to be 77 down here today. It has been the craziest fall. Temperature goes up, temperature goes down. What was it, last week or 2 weeks ago? It was 45 degrees when I was out here. And today it's going to be in the 70s again. I just don't know what's going on with the weather. Nice angle there. That'll get us right down the wall. Keep that Allen wrench handy. So now we can reach right inside, around that corner. And we're on the end still. Let's blow out the chips. Pay no attention to those tools falling from my elbow. And we'll reach right in here and start to really clean things up. Now, I saw that I have to reposition. You can see how I hit the opening there when you have that bigger cutter. Remember I was talking about earlier when we started to be careful about how big your hole is and make it a little bit smaller than what you're going to eventually want. That'll work right there because you'll beat it up. Because this is a big cutter going through a small hole. There we go. So I'm right up against the very top lid with the side of this teardrop cutter. And that gets my very, very tip top right there. I'm cutting right on the opposite side of this. Now if I had the laser on, it would be shining its beam right on here, right on the wood, and then when that beam disappeared, you would know you have your wall thickness. And you have a lot of range of motion. Now, right at the largest point, right here, I couldn't quite touch that because I ran up against the side of the piece, the hollow roller. So I'm going to move that over, but I'm going to finish this cut down through here, and then I'll move it. Okay, let's come back out of there. And again, as you get closer to being finished, and I'm going to spin this banjo all the way around. Be more and more careful as you come out of the hole. Okay, let's blow the chips out. Reposition here. And I'm going to move it pretty far over so that I can get right down in that corner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk around the other side here. So happy that I have magnetic controls. And I'm going to come around to the other side of the lathe so that my head's not in the way. Okay. And now I can actually see that cutter right inside there. I see exactly what I'm doing. So you can see how I have a lot of range of motion by moving the piece over the hollow roller, even though I know you can't. I see you can't see it in the picture there. Okay. Let's bring her back up out of there gently. We'll blow that out and we'll turn the cutter to the round, the smoother, larger radius. We'll make another pass or two and That'll pretty much be the inside of this. So let's give a quick turn on that cutter. So now I'll put the large radius end out. Get it adjusted where I want it at a good angle. All right, I'll come back around to the other side. Sneak her in there. So we'll go over in a second. I'll move the rest itself, the rollers over back over to the other side. One more pass here. Okay. I'm just going to stop it with it in there. Come back around. Make a quick adjustment here. Spin her back around. This is the smallest space I've ever used this in before. All right, and one more pass with the big radius end. And we'll go down into the bottom this time. So I'm working right in the very center there. When you see the piece kind of jump a little bit, that's when I will go over center. Okay. Get out of there. We'll stop. We'll switch back to the front here in just a sec. Okay, so that's pretty much the process. Now, it's not refined yet, but we can stand here and refine this all day long. Like I said, you're not going to see anything much different. You would just keep working until you had the wall thickness that you wanted, whether you're using calipers to measure it or a laser, and the calipers will work fine too. Work till you're happy with all your shape, and then you're good. Now, you notice I haven't gotten beaten up, been casual, easy to work with, not a problem at all. Again, this piece isn't so far out over the tool rest or off the headstock that I felt like I needed the steady rest. But I think, first I'm going to put some color on this just because I want to. I don't know what time it is. 11:30, we're good. I'm going to throw some color on this because I want to see it. And then I'm going to put another piece on here that's really long on faceplate that I already got over here. We'll put that on so you can see, and I'll bring the steady rest up and show you how that sets up. And then I've got another couple of pieces that I need to put in a chuck. So we'll take the faceplate stuff off, stick a chuck on here, and we'll play with those for the last half hour or so. But I really want to put some dye on this. I know the dye has nothing to do with Halloween whatsoever, but humor me, okay? Because I just want to do it. So let me go overhead. And let's see. We need a little something to keep our lathe from getting dye on it. I'm not real particular about what I put down there. Just whatever's handy. Find something around here. There we go. Nice manila envelope. We'll put that underneath to keep the dye off the machine. And let's see, what do I have here? I see I have spray. Do I have liquid here? Is it all next door? I have spray here, and that's fine. Looks like a pink, maybe a red, magenta, not quite sure. And I'm gonna grab a paper towel. Keep it off that tool rest. I just want to see some color on this. I'm kind of curious because I love color. Scroll down here on the chat feed real quick. Hope you all are enjoying your morning. Where we go? There we go. So you're looking at the overhead. I've got a little Chromacraft aerosol dye. Now, I haven't really sanded this or anything. I just want to see what this looks like. See that crack there? Now, that crack we can fill with super glue, but we're going to want to put our dye on there first and then put a finish on it and then super glue it if that's what you're going to choose to use, or epoxy or anything else, because that will stain the whatever you fill that with will stain the wood. So you want to make sure you have your color on there first. I just love these colors. I think that's cool. I mean, you can see it from this other end camera as well. Now, if it had been sanded, it would really make a difference. And I'm going to give that like 30 seconds. And I'm going to spray a little clear on it, and I'll flood it with some clear lacquer just to see kind of what it looks like. I know it's not dry. I get it. I'll just turn this away. Excuse me. I just always like to get a feel for what it might look like. So I'm gonna blast this pretty hard. And then, like I said, it's not sanded or anything. The alcohol's not even dry yet, but I don't really care. It's end grain there, so it's going to soak it up really fast. May only get to see it. That's going to take a sealer. It's not going to soak so much in because this is an end grain piece. Go overhead, you'll see what I'm kind of sort of attempting in here. I just want to see these lines show up. You see how the ambrosia, there's ambrosia lines and there's spalting lines. This stuff is so dry. This piece of wood is so dry. It's like a sponge right now. It's just sucking up everything. Can't get a film to build. Okay. Thanks for humoring me. That was me trying to have fun and see what that looked like. Oh, speaking of holoforms, for those of you who are here kind of on a regular basis, this is the epoxy piece from last week. I'm ready to put another coat on it. It's looking pretty good. Let me show you in the overhead. He's looking pretty good. I'm not super happy with that pattern, but I knew I'd be putting another layer on it. But the balloon is still in there. And since I broke it, I had to put more coats on it. So it's looking good, guys. I have fun with this stuff. All right, let's get this guy off of here. And hope I didn't make it too tight on there. We'll see. Move this guy out of the way for the moment. Is that the right one? When I have this on the road, I have all the T-handle wrenches set up. This thing's full of crud. And so it's got to be this one. I have all the colored handle wrenches, which makes knowing which one you need for what really easy. But they're still out at the warehouse. Okay, we got that out of the way. See if I made this super tight or not. I probably did. As I root through the drawer, looking for that knockout bar, I'll go like that. It's hard when you're one man to keep up with everything. You would think it would be easy, wouldn't you? But it's not. It is a little room I'm in here. Do 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 do. When in doubt, hum. Come on, Bradley. I finally found a tool that I've been looking for since the end of the last shows, Saturday out at the warehouse. Hard to believe, but not. There you are. See if this one works. That one is too big. All right. That one's too big. I'm not having any luck here this morning on this. Got me looking the fool. We'll find something here in a second. Pop this guy loose. There we go. Yeah, always got to have the right tool for the job, don't you? You guys know me. I run a little fast and loose. That's okay. Been that way right along. Not going to change anytime soon. But anyway, this is a great little holoform here. Dump the rest of that out. That's pretty cool. Again, it wasn't hard. Pretty easy to use the system. So I'm going to grab another one over here. Go over here to get it real quick. That is really long. So when you have a piece that's really long like this, you're going to need some support. Right? This is actually two holoforms, two different pieces. This is one piece that breaks right here. So from here to the top, that's the one piece. And then this is another piece. Just riding as the waist right now. Now, I'm not going to set this up completely. I just want to show you this. Multi-rest. This is super handy for your long pieces. So it's got the wheels. Set it up here for a second. Your wheels that roll on the piece. Your bars are all adjustable. Everything about this is adjustable. It's super, super versatile. And this, again, comes from Carter. It drops right down into the ways of your bed. Like so. We would tighten that down. Then if I had my wrench here, we would drop the wheels in. There we go. And this gives you the support all the way around your piece. You can see the wheels turning there. I'll go to the end camera for you. So now you can't get, the piece can't snap, you can't get the vibration. They work super well. Nice and steady, real durable. Again, I've had this stuff on the road for a long, long time and never had any trouble with it. Good stuff. All right, that's the real long piece. Just out of the way. I see some splits opening up in this Sycamore. It's a couple of years old. Sycamore does split pretty easy. All right, so pretty handy to have. Pretty handy item. Just set this back over here. And go like that. Which piece do we want? I got a couple of different pieces here. God knows which one is workable. That one's going to need the. They're both going to need the curve tool. Let me go back front here. So I had a couple of pieces in mind. This was one with a real small hole, fairly speaking, and a lot of diameter to it. The curve tool will reach right in there. I think what I might do is just show you how that reaches in there instead of changing all the cutters around and all that this morning. I mean, you saw the curve tool work already. So we'll just hold this with the chuck real quick. Scroll down over here. Play producer. All right. So a lot of these pieces I use over and over and over out on the road. I'll turn them, color them, whatever, depending on what class is that I'm doing at the woodworking shows, and then the next week I'll do it again. I'll turn it again a little bit more, so I leave them real thick. So I get a lot of uses out of, instead of having to have another piece every time. There you can see the what the face of this looks like. But with our curved neck tool, and I'm actually going to leave this other tool just right in place. Slide the tool rest back up there in a simulated fashion. This would let you reach way in there around the corner. Now, if I would have to spin the tool rest all the way around to reach around this corner, I got tools everywhere this morning now, don't I? Turn this all the way around. Just want you to kind of get the feel for it. There we go. And you can see that you can reach all the way in. And if I run this all the way out, and then up closer, you just adjust till you get where you need to be. And you can work a really large diameter piece all the way out to the corners and not get beat up. If you can see that now. So I've got this facing way out front. I would have the handle on. I would actually be standing out here with my handle, working right inside there. Lots of fun. Very versatile. You just adjust as you need to see fit to do what you need to do. Get all those keep them from falling down. Let's see. I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap up because I kind of covered what I was going to cover. I would be happy to take any questions this morning. Got a few minutes here. It's about 20 till. I'll hang out for a couple minutes or two and see if anybody has any particular questions. Again, captive systems are really nice. The handheld tools on the smaller work, absolutely. You don't need to bring a gun to a knife fight if you're doing a little work. Use your handheld tools. As it gets bigger and bigger, you'll be happy If you get something like this, they all kind of sort of work on the same principle. Now, everybody who sells them will tell you that theirs is better. I get that. This is the one that I've worked with Carter products over the years. I've been real happy with it. Everything does what it's supposed to do. Very versatile. A couple different toolbars, the bigger handles or bigger shafts, all go into the same handle. As you saw, as I was playing with adjustments, infinitely adjustable, not overly taxing to adjust. Just takes a couple of minutes to play with the adjustments and move it around. And it allows you to hollow. And I'm on an 18-inch lathe, but you can set this up on a mini lathe. It doesn't matter. Because you can still do things on a mini that can be pretty long or pretty up to 12 inches or 14 maybe these days on some of the middies. So it's a great way to go. A lot of fun. And it looks like my stream is bouncing in and out anyway. I survived the day. Didn't I, Art? I made it through, drops and all, late start. Welcome to life and live streams. And it's going to be hot. I'm starting to sweat. Must be time to quit. It's going to be warm today. It's muggy. I think it's about time to go to the Mexican restaurant and look for some lunch. I appreciate everybody coming today and having a good time with me. If you have any kind of questions, pop an email to me, bradley@spirocraft.com. Drop by. This is actually, there's no sales pitch here. This is on sale, but that's my sales pitch. I wasn't trying to sell you a tool today. I wanted you to see how to use it. Great piece. I really appreciate everybody that came out today. There was more people in the views than I have ever had. So this is my record day so far. I like that. I'm having fun. Things are growing. I'm going to work on this technical stuff and get that figured out. By the time I come off the woodworking shows, I'm going to have a whiz-bang machine out here so that we can throw all the data stream at it that I can come up with these cabbers, because I'm shooting in high def and at 60 frames a second to keep the speed, but the computer just can't swallow what I'm throwing at it. So it's just money and technology. We'll get some more. Again, I thank everybody for coming out. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, and we will see you next Monday. Don't know what I'm up to. You know where to look. Facebook pages for my posts of what we're doing. Y'all have a great week. Thank you again for coming. I'll see you next Monday.